Good morning. I'm Hank Giesecke. I'm with Patriot Network TV, and we're thankful that you're with us this morning. We're excited today to have Nonie Darwish with us today. She's an amazing lady. She came out of Egypt, was born in Egypt, and now lives in this country, the United States, and has basically a huge expertise in Islam, the various facets of it, and some of the challenges that we're up against. So thank you for being with us today, Nonie.
Oh, my pleasure, Hank.
Nonie also started two groups. One is called Arabs for Israel, and the other is Former Muslims United, which is working to try and wrestle with the worldviews that we're up against, namely Islam versus Christianity and certainly other minority worldviews as well. So she's also the author of 3 books, and so we would encourage you to look at those as well. One of them is The Devil We Don't Know. The other is Cruel and Usual Punishment. And Now They Call Me Infidel. So again, those are things that you can check out on the website, and we're just excited to have Nonie with us today. Nonie, maybe we should start in this segment with looking at kind of the basic worldview of Islam that causes so much trouble, in the sense that when they look out and see other truths, why it's difficult for them to accept that and to perhaps change.
Well, Islam's worldview is very different from Christianity or biblical worldview. Totally opposite, as a matter of fact. In Islam, they don't look at the world like we're all sinners, like the Bible says. In Islam, they are all sinners. We are Muslims. Their worldview, there is a very well-known theory in Islam. It's called the theory of loyalty and enmity. Islam dictates who you should be loyal to and who you should be never befriend, and you have to have as enemies on a permanent basis. Islam splits the world into 2 camps: Dar al-Islam, House of Islam, with which you have to be on friendly terms with, which is among Muslims of the same sect, and House of War, which means Dar al-Harb, which means House of War. And these are the people who are not Muslims, and they should be decided as enemies of Islam, regardless of how nice they are to you, how good or bad they are to you. They are to be permanent enemies of Islam. So Islam splits the world into enemies and friends. It's clearly written in the Quran that Muslims should never take Jews and Christians as their friends. It is stated in the Quran many times, in fact. The theory of loyalty and enmity.
Well, and if I recall, as we get further into the Quran, the later passages, the later passages are regarded as even more important, and they're also, are they not the ones that talk about, like you say, making no friends, and in fact doing away with infidels?
Exactly. So Islam is very, it's very different from the Bible, and that's why the West cannot even comprehend it. It's totally dividing the world into enemies and friends. And you should follow what Islam tells you. Otherwise, you become a traitor for Islam.
Okay.
I'm sure you have seen many people in the Middle East who are accused of being traitors and actually killed in the public square just because they befriended a Jew.
Yes. Yeah, we see that. Well, and that always, of course, raises the question is that what is such the lure? I mean, one of the things in the news practically every day now is we have particularly young people from all around the West, not just the United States, but Europe and so forth, going to join up. And, you know, it almost kind of baffles our mind as to why would they do that, what the lure is to do that.
Most of the people who join ISIS from the West are usually Muslims in the West who are still very tribal, and they fantasize and romanticize about their origin. Some of the women who go also, they have Muslim boyfriends who become very compassionate to the cause. Islam is very seductive to some elements of the West that, disfranchised Western people who want to feel important, who find a lure in Islam's promises of grandiose actions. They're gonna go and become famous, and they are lured by the images that you see on TV, people who are brutal, and some people, unfortunately, in every culture, are lured by the power of tyranny. And Islam provides that.
Well, and I think particularly among a lot of the younger people who are very idealistic sometimes and think, they can go out and change the world. And of course, like you say, it's very dramatic. A lot of the things that are going on, the beheadings and so forth. And so that probably has a lot of appeal to someone who's feeling that maybe their life isn't really making a difference, and so they can go and make a difference.
Exactly. And also Western culture have reached a level of secularism that kept a void in society, that made people eager to have a spiritual life, and they are lured by Islam, which is filling the gap. So unfortunately, the West is no longer proud of its biblical history.
No, that's a good point, because like you say, we see our own culture not adhering to our Christianity like we should and like we used to. And so is that a major portion? In other words, they can go and be more what we might say pure in their beliefs, as opposed to looking at our culture here that's gotten away from our Christianity?
Absolutely. I think the West have made Christianity something old-fashioned. Christianity is being even ridiculed in some quarters. The media is anti-Christian. So many people in the West are afraid even to get in touch with their biblical heritage. And they come and see Muslims are proud of being Muslim. It's empowering them. It's placing control over others. Islam loves control over others.
Yes.
And this seduces that side in humanity.
Yeah.
That wants to be spiritual and controlling at the same time.
Good points. Okay, good. Well, listen, that's a good start for what we're going to do here. What we'd like to do is to have you come back, Nonie, and at that point we'd like to talk a little bit about some of the two organizations that you've put together, and we'll do that in the next segment. But again, we thank you all for watching, and join us again for the next segment with Nonie Darwish. Thank you so much, Nonie. We'll talk to you soon.